Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. I'm doing this video just a little bit differently by having my face on and doing the intro this way. Hopefully I can keep the sound of the furnace to a minimum in post corrections, because that is the challenge for me of trying to have more of my face on video. Alright, today I am working on this challenge as part of the design team over at the Counterfeit Kit Challenge, where we build our kits once a month and then are challenged and inspired to use them. So let's dive into today's topic, which is New Year's resolutions. Okay, I have my kit here. I've already busted into it a little bit, and I've made one project out of this. So let's see what else. I have got my notes on... I don't do resolutions, but instead I kind of think about intentions and goals throughout the year. And it's less about bettering myself. It's not weight loss. It's not eating healthier, things like that in general. It's about things that I want to see happen in the year. And so I've got my list going on here, and some of the things I'm not sure about, like I've got a big question mark in the fall and the winter. I have divided it up into these kind of 4 seasons, just because that's how I started thinking about things when I was thinking about what's coming up for me. It started off with summer, and so I broke it down that way. And because I have 4 areas, I'm going to make a quad zoned layout. So let's choose some pattern papers for these 4 zones. Because I do have some papers cut apart already, and each zone is going to be 6 by 6, this might work out nicely. Let's see, it is more than 6 by 6, so that one might work out nicely. That might be a good spring green color. This one might be a good winter color, so let's check on that. Oh, how about a nice bright yellow for summer? Ooh, and then, okay, this is just easy off the bat. How about this orangey to head us into fall, although there is a plaid back there. I'm just going to stick with what I chose, and we'll dive into this. So I'm going to shut off my face and my audio so that I can just work and be able to edit this more easily and do the voiceover afterwards. So let's do it. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is cut all my papers down to 6 by 6 squares, and this method is great if you use 6 by 6 paper pads or want to use 6 by 6 paper pads, which can save you money. And the challenge, of course, is that you have to get them back into a 12 by 12 shape. And I do that pretty simply. I'm going to go ahead and line them up in the order that I want them to be based on the seasons. And I did swap out this one piece because it had more pink flowers on the edge and I wanted more of the orange to show, because I know I'm going to cover up quite a bit of this with my journaling blocks. So as I was saying, to get these back into 12 by 12, all you have to do is take some scratch pieces and glue them down to the back, and then you get that quad shape going on and you're good to go. I have this scratch left over from cutting out pockets earlier on in my kit building process, and I am going to use those for my journaling zones. I'm also trying to decide on an alpha set for my title. I really liked the mixed color, but the size wasn't quite where I needed it to be, so I did go with a larger size in this blue color. And I'm going to ground that on a tag, and I'm going to handwrite the rest of the title there, which is going to be the word plans. So I will do my best. I probably should have done this before I even stuck my numbers down, but because I kept adjusting the numbers on where I wanted them to be, and if I wanted to write the word plans on another tag, this is how it ended up. So there we go. It's done and good to go. I have pulled out embellishments to go with each zone, and there's not a lot of embellishing to this layout, really. I will stamp my journaling lines on here with my favorite journaling stamp. This thing is old and discontinued, but it continues to be a workhorse in my process. With that part done, I'm going to go ahead and label each section with the season that it goes with, and then I will handwrite handwriting the season, as well as underneath that I'm handwriting kind of the months that go within that season, and it's not going to break down kind of how we typically do, especially when we get to the fall zone. It's going to include December down there. So I will get that all done, and then we can move on. Now, I have chosen some embellishments already, but in my kit this month I have a lot of stamp and die sets for creating embellishments, and I thought I was going to create more than I actually did, but I do off screen do a couple of things that will get added in to this process. But until I get to making those, I'm going to pick and choose a few things to go on each zone, and I'm trying to balance off colors and shapes as I go. I will go ahead and pop up my title onto some foam, and I probably should have saved this step for later, but because I work organically, I don't always plan everything out. I mean, I have a general idea in mind, and that was the zones of this, but when I get to my embellishing and stuff, I don't have a lot of plans going on, and I decide after the fact to use this stencil and some cloud whip from scrapbook.com to create some clouds, because I am talking about seasons, and because it is cloudy here most of the year, I wanted the clouds to match up with the season, from white fluffy clouds in the summer to the heavy gray clouds that we have in the winter. And I want to show you how you can tint pastes. So I am using the Cloud Whip, which tends to be a thicker, chunkier paste. Oh, I am making some markings here where I want the clouds to go, kind of based on where I expect my embellishments to go. That way I'm not spending a lot of time doing this mixed media process and then it'll all get covered up. Although you will see that I didn't plan one section very well and most of it gets covered up, but I try. Okay, this Cloud Whip is normally pretty thick and chunky. Mine is extra thick and chunky because I've had it for quite a while. The nice thing about Cloud Whip, though, that if it is drying out on you, you can just add water to it and reconstitute it. So if you're one of those people who wants to play with some mixed media, but you don't want to buy the jars and use it once and then go back to use it and it's completely ruined, this might be a good choice for you. So you do, in general, have to add water to it no matter what state it's in, because it is made to add other mediums to, especially like a liquid watercolor or perhaps a re-inker drop, so that you can color it yourself and you need one base and then you can add color on top of that. Now, that last cloud I just did was a little tricky because I did have my title already on there popped up, but I did the best I could to kind of work around the thickness where the stencil wouldn't lay flat. Now I am coloring my paste, and I am doing that just with an ink pad. I'm pressing that ink pad onto the side, and here I am picking up extra ink. I lightly tinted my paste, and I picked up extra ink to smear into my paste. Now, this paste gets crumbly when it starts drying, so it's best to wash that off in a sink. And I do need to wash up in between some of these zones because it was getting extra mucky and I didn't want to transfer that to other zones. Now I can fully tint my paste with that ink pad because I'm going into the winter section where our clouds are nice and gray. And so you can work from a light color and then add a little bit of color and then add more color. So that is why, one of the reasons why I like this paste in particular. It doesn't dry out as fast on us, so that you can reconstitute it and keep using it. And it's made to be tinted with various mediums so that you can add whatever you have in your stash to it. I don't like to waste paste, so with the extra white paste on the side, I'm just going to use that over my stencil on a scratch piece of paper, and I might use that as a background for something, or I might fussy cut out these extra clouds. I did actually think I would fussy cut them out and use them on this layout, but it was still drying when I was finishing up my layout, so I'll just use it for something in the future. Okay, time to clean up again. If you have just a little bit of mess on your desk, it does wipe up pretty easily with water, but if you have thicker stuff left over on your stencil, go to the sink and soak it, or keep a little tray of water next to you and just dump it in there until you can get to washing it up later. Because it is water soluble, it's pretty easy to clean up when you can get to it. All right, you can see that little vellum piece I did create from a stamp set that is by 3 Rim Studio. I don't know if they still exist anymore. I'll link you up to their products if I can find them. And it's a whole 2 sets, actually, 2 stamp sets on love of reading. So my winter zone is focusing on the beginning of this year and kind of what I want to get more out of reading for 2025. And then the other zones are just kind of plans and activities that I had throughout the year. So it's just a few embellishments to kind of lead to the activities in each zone. I do finish it all up with some enamel dots that kind of match the color of the zone. And here is a bit of a close-up peek at that. And that's the zone where I covered up most of my clouds. But I'm happy I did it anyway. And that wraps up this project for this time around. I hope you got something useful out of this, and if you don't already participate with us over at CKC, I will leave you all the links below if you would like to join us in scrapbook kit building and layout challenges. All right, until next time, I hope you have an artful day.